One Japanese watch keeps time to plus or minus 1 second per year. Another one, 45 times cheaper, is on Ed Sheeran's wrist in every stadium tour he does. Then there is the $5,600 Grand Seiko, a single artisan finishes by hand, while Rolex uses machines on a Submariner they charge you $10,500 for. 8 Japanese watches priced to embarrass Swiss luxury, and number 1 just went up 22% because the world finally figured it out. Number 8, the Casio G-Shock DW5600, $50. This is the watch that started the entire tough watch category. 1983. Kikuo eBay dropped a prototype from a third-floor window at the Casio factory until it survived. 200 prototypes, 2 years. The DW5000C was born, and every G-Shock since is a descendant of the shape you see right now. 200-meter water resistance, shock resistance to a spec no Swiss brand publishes because none of them can meet it, and a 10-year battery. All for $50. Now here is what makes it embarrassing. Bill Gates has been photographed in a Casio on national television. Ed Sheeran did 3 G-Shock collabs with Hodinkee. John Mayer did 3 more. The most influential collectors on the planet wear the $50 option, and none of them apologize for it. The Casio will outlive your Submariner, but the next watch does something more insulting. It runs the same automatic architecture as watches costing 20 times more, and the entire industry benchmarks against it. Number 7, the Seiko 5 Sports SRPD. $250. This is the watch every professional watchmaker started on. The 4R36 caliber. 23 jewels, hand-winding, hacking seconds, and a 41-hour power reserve, all in a case built to the same dimensions Seiko has used since 1963. Here is the giveaway. Fratello, Hodinkee, and watches by SJX all use the 4R36 as the reference point when they review anything under $2,000. It is not called a budget movement anywhere in the industry. It is called the affordable tier standard. $250 for a real automatic diver with a movement the whole industry calibrates its expectations against. Rolex charges $10,500 for a Submariner and uses machined finishing on components the SRPD does by hand. Seiko sells this at $250 because it can. Rolex charges $10,500 because you let them. But the next watch is where the story stops being about price and starts being about what Seiko itself would not build for you. Number 6, the Orient Komatsu, $280, 2019. Seiko discontinued the SKX. Every watch forum on the internet asked the same question. What replaces it? The answer was already sitting on the shelf, and Seiko itself had been trying to hide it. The Komatsu runs an in-house F6922 caliber, 22 jewels, 40-hour reserve, hacking and hand-winding, both of which the SKX never had. Sapphire crystal at this price is almost unheard of. 200-meter water resistance. Made in Japan by Orient, which has been a wholly owned Seiko subsidiary since 2009. Same corporate parent as Seiko, different pricing philosophy. Seiko was too proud to build the SKX successor at this price. Orient did it anyway and shipped it. Sapphire in-house automatic, 200 meters for $280. But the next watch is what commercial divers wear on the job, because the alternative is a Rolex that has to go back for a $1,200 service every 5 years. Number 5, the Citizen ProMaster BN0211, $400. This watch is ISO 6425 certified. That is the actual dive watch standard, and most watches costing $3,000 cannot meet it. It runs on EcoDrive. Charges from any light source, including a window on a cloudy Tuesday. Full charge holds for 6 months in complete darkness. It has never needed a battery in its life, and it never will. Now here is the part that actually humiliates Swiss luxury. Commercial divers wear this watch on the job. Not because they cannot afford a Submariner, because a Submariner needs a $1,200 service every 5 years, and this one does not. 20 years of ownership, the Rolex has cost you almost $5,000 in the service alone. The Citizen has cost you nothing. ISO certified dive spec for $400 forever. But the next watch is where Japanese design stops competing on price and starts competing on craft, and it comes with a compass bezel to prove it. Number 4, the Seiko Alpinist SPB 121, $700. The Alpinist runs the in-house 6R35. 70-hour power reserve, 24 joules, hacks hand-fly headwinds and holds accuracy to plus or minus 15 seconds a day, sapphire crystal, 200-meter water resistance, and an internal compass bezel that rotates with a second crown. Every one of these is hand-assembled at Seiko's Shizuku Ishii Watch Studio in Iwate. Not in a factory in Guangdong, not on an assembly line in Bienne, in a small studio in northern Japan. Now compare that to Longines. Longines will sell you a similar-sized watch with a similar 72-hour reserve for 1,400. Same movement family, same Swiss ETA base. Twice the price, but the next watch is where Citizen decided to compete with Grand Seiko directly, and reviewers still cannot get over the fact that it undercuts by 2/3. Number 3, the Citizen Series 8 Automatic, $1,800. Series 8 is Citizen deciding to compete with Grand Seiko. Same country, same finishing philosophy, 1/3 the price. Reviewers at Fratello, Monochrome Watches, and her blog to watch all reached the same conclusion when the line launched. Nobody had ever put this level of case finishing on a watch under $2,000 before. The 0950 caliber holds chronometer accuracy without the chronometer certification. Ceramic rotor bearings, 50-hour reserve. This is what Grand Seiko would sell you for $6,000. Citizen sells it for $1,800. Same island, same techniques, 1/3 the price. If this list is changing how you think about Japanese engineering, hit subscribe. Every week we tear down another market myth the industry does not want you to see clearly. Grand Seiko finishing at 1/3 the price. But the next watch does not care about finishing. It is the most accurate mechanical timekeeping instrument ever made, at any price from any country, and it does something to Rolex accuracy that borders on cruel. Number 2, the Citizen Caliber 0100, $4,500. Plus or minus 1 second per year. Not per day, per year. Yeah, you read that right. Citizen uses an 80-cut crystal oscillator vibrating at 8.4 million hertz, roughly 256 times faster than the quartz in a normal watch. Now compare that to Rolex. Rolex chronometer certification is plus or minus 2 seconds per day. Do the math. Over a year, that is 730 seconds. The Caliber 0100 is 730 times more accurate than the accuracy Rolex charges you $10,500 for. Titanium case. Autonomous regulation, meaning the watch compensates for temperature drift, mechanical shock, and even for the aging of its own crystal over time. Built in Japan entirely by Citizen. There is nothing like it in the Swiss catalogue, at any price. 730 times more accurate than a certified Rolex at less than half the price. But number 1 is where Japanese watchmaking stops fighting Swiss luxury on Swiss luxury's own terms, and just walks off with the trophy. Number 1, the Grand Seiko Snowflake SBGA 211. $5,600 and rising. 2 years ago, this watch was $4,500. Today, $5,600. Watch Charts data says another 8 to 12% inside 6 months. This is the watch every Swiss slay list ends on, and the reason it ends here is because the argument is over. The Snowflake runs spring drive, a movement invented at Grand Seiko in 1977 and refined for 28 years before it ever went into production. The mainspring drives a glide wheel. The glide wheel's speed is regulated by a quartz oscillator through an electromagnetic brake. The second hand does not tick. It glides, 6 times more accurate than a certified Rolex. But that is not the part that ends the argument. This is the dial. Textured to look like snowdrifts in Nagano Prefecture, hand-finished by a single artisan at Grand Seiko's Shinshu Watch Studio. Zaratsu polished across every case flat. One person, one watch. Rolex uses machines, Grand Seiko uses one person. $5,600, 6 times more accurate than a Rolex. Hand-finished by a single artisan. The Swiss industry cannot answer it at that price. The best they can offer is a Tudor with a Swiss ETA base and a machined dial. Buy it now or pay $6,300 by December. That is not marketing. That is what the data says. 8 watches, every one of them making the same argument in a different accent. Swiss watchmaking sells you certainty. Japanese watchmaking sells you engineering. The $50 G-Shock outlives your Submariner. The $400 Citizen skips the $1,200 service. The $5,600 Snowflake outperforms Rolex accuracy by a factor of 6, hand-finished by a single artisan in Nagano, while Rolex uses machines. The luxury tax is not on the watch, it is on the passport of the person who assembled it. Next week, the same list at $10,000, and this time, Grand Seiko is the villain. The video is on screen right now. Click it.